To begin tonight's program, I'd like to introduce the founders of the Dramatists Guild Fellows Program. You know her as the Tony Award-winning book writer of Ragtime, Once on This Island, and Anastasia. But did you know that she also composed the jingle, What Would You Do for a Klondike Bar? And you know him as the musical genius, Tony-winning himself, for the aforementioned Broadway blockbusters. But did you know he was an amateur magician as a kid and won a scholastic songwriting competition at age 15? Please welcome Lynn Ahrens and Stephen Clark.
So I just wanted to clarify that. I am, among other things, at the Guild, I serve on the Publications Committee. And that's for the Dramatists, which I'm sure you all know is the magazine that we put out. And in discussing a particular issue called community engagement, I happened simultaneously to those discussions to receive a package from a friend who sent me a picture from the front page of the Houston Chronicle and a letter from a high school junior. And they were both so extraordinary and made me burst into tears that I started sharing them with everybody I know. And I will let Stephen finish this sentence, because that's what we do.
You're supposed to be a visual aid now. Okay. Imagine, if you will, a photograph of a young high school junior, Rory Leech. This picture, there it is. There he is. It appeared on the front page. It appeared on the front page of the Houston Chronicle with Rory in the midst of a demonstration, speaking out with his homemade sign raised proudly and defiantly and with great joy. It says, "Make them hear you," which is also a song title from Ragtime. And we want to thank Rory for not only showing how communities can engage in theater, but also how the youth of tomorrow can be mobilized and inspired by theater.
And so, Rory is here. And we're really truly proud. We feel like we've already adopted several portions of him, and the rest of him is up for grabs. We can adopt pieces of this young man. He is amazing. He's an amazing human being. He's here with his dad, who's the executive director of the Houston Grand Opera. So it's this amazing family. And Rory, we thought it would be great if he read his letter to you. It will inspire you. So Rory, would you please come up?
Hello. This is like a Cloud 9 moment. I just want to put that out there. So this is a letter I wrote to Lynn Ahrens a couple of months ago. Hi, my name is Rory James Leech, and I am a junior theater student at the High School for the Performing and Visual Arts in Houston, Texas. My experience with Ragtime began in December of 2016. Our musical theater teacher, the wonderful Charles Swan, announced that our next all-school musical would be Ragtime. I heard of the show in passing and started listening to the score. In the weeks following the announcement, word spread around the school. This musical is game-changing. I remember reading the script for the first time and being stunned by the relevance and timeliness of Ragtime. This was 1 month after the presidential election, and the issues Ragtime addressed were those that kept me up late at night: police brutality, immigration, what is the correct way to protest, what can complacency do, and how do we make our voices heard? In collaboration with Gabby Diaz, an English teacher at HSPVA, Mr. Swan started a ragtime book club leading up to auditions. Every week we would meet to discuss new chapters of the novel and compare them to the musical and discuss the issues raised and how poignant we all collectively found the two pieces. Ms. Diaz even started using ragtime in her class discussions of adaptations, comparing the opening of the book to the opening number of the show, and how you perfectly managed to capture the rhythm and syntax that E.L. Doctorow wrote. The entire school was introduced to this musical, and we all collectively fell in love. By the time auditions rolled around, the hype was undeniable. This was going to be the biggest show that HSPVA had ever produced. The audition process was long and meticulous, as all the creative team wanted to make sure that the right people were chosen for the project. After weeks of auditions, I was ecstatic to be cast as Mother's younger brother. He's described in the opening number as a young man in search of something to believe in. My entire summer became dedicated to preparing for this role. I began taking voice lessons for the first time in a year. I'm an acting major at HSPVA, so I hadn't been in regular voice lessons. I read the book 3 times and highlighted every single passage related to younger brother. I scored my script and worked to understand the inner workings of younger brother. I began attending regular marches and rallies, partly as research, but mostly because I felt like in this political climate I needed to. It was the most excited I'd ever been to start a project. We began rehearsals on August 14th, 2 weeks before school began. Our choreographer, HSPVA alum Christian Warner, was returning to choreograph and had 2 weeks in which to choreograph all the musical numbers. At our first rehearsal, our director Charles Swan said he felt like this might be one of the most important journeys of his life. Our love affair with ragtime began, and me and my friend Maddie, who was playing Mother, would regularly tell each other how lucky we were to be telling this story. It was the most important story we could tell in the world we live in. Our passion was truly all-encompassing. On August 27th, the day before school was scheduled to start, Hurricane Harvey hit Houston, and the results were devastating. I woke up one morning and my street had turned into a canal. Speedboats were racing up and down the street, traveling to houses to save families stuck in their homes. Our city was underwater. The beginning of school was delayed 3 weeks, and in those 3 weeks, we attempted to put our lives back together. My family was lucky. Our house is on high ground, so no water bought in, but others were not so lucky. Mario McGarvey, one of my best friends, who was making a documentary about the rehearsal process for Ragtime, lost her house in the flood. All her belongings were submerged in sewer water. Me and my friends spent days helping her clean out her house of the debris left behind. Kylie and John, both of whom were ensemble members in Ragtime, among many others, also lost their homes. It was such an odd juxtaposition. On Friday, we were all in rehearsals for a show which we had overwhelming passion for and a story we could not wait to tell. On Saturday, our city was underwater and loved ones were losing everything, and we were incapable of stopping it. Ragtime was canceled. Our school, our city, our teachers, and our students were all still recovering from the hurricane, and we had lost too much time to produce Ragtime as it should be done. I don't think heartbreak could even begin to describe everyone's feelings. It broke a lot of people. The passion for this story from the cast and crew was unbelievable. For many, it seemed like a beacon of hope through the storm, and now it was gone. We had lost our voice. We had lost our story. We wept, we mourned, we hurt. I think we were all grappling with one question: why? Why even try to tell stories when it can all be swept away cruelly and unfairly? As cliche as this sounds, younger brother is still a part of me. In my research and preparation for this show, his wild, fiery passion for changing the world seeped into my soul, and he transformed me. His character and Lynn and Stephen's words made me a better person. The biggest message I take away from Ragtime is, make them hear you. It is poignant and strong and brave and bold. Complacency kills. We must teach every child to raise their voice and demand justice. I made them hear me at the Women's March. I made them hear me at Black Lives Matter rallies. I made them hear me at DACA protests. I made them hear me at the March for Our Lives. And I made them hear me at the National School Walkout, where a photo of me got published on the front page of the Houston Chronicle. My poster read, "Go out and tell our story. let it echo far and wide, how justice was our battle when justice was denied. Teach every child to raise their voice, and let justice be demanded by 10 million righteous men. Make them hear you. Ragtime has touched so many of us. It lives a spark inside of me that will never be snuffed out. With love and admiration, Rory James Leech.
I can't think of any more extraordinary affirmation of what we do than Rory's remarkable letter. And the mention of ragtime is a beautiful reminder that we can write about another era and another place and still resoundingly speak about today. And my apologies.